Hello, everyone. Ryan Scott back here again with you. I'm the lead columnist for D3Hoops.com. And with me is Steve Djurickovic, the head men's basketball coach at Carthage. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
All right, thanks for having me.
Two wins to start off the season. How have things been going in your mind so far?
Just one. We went up to St. Mary's, Minnesota on Saturday afternoon and got off to a really good start. We do have a veteran experience group that is back, scored 61 points in the first half, and we shared the ball very nicely. So I think we finished 21 assists to 7 turns. And, we did that without our preseason first team All-American Ryan Johnson, who was out. We'll be back on Saturday. But no, it was nice to see some other guys step up, a couple new faces that weren't with us last year. So definitely a good start for us.
Yeah, sorry about just giving you an extra win right off the bat.
We'll take
You
it.
have Alma coming up this week. I don't know why I was looking at both of those at the same time. So Ryan will be back. That was obviously the number one question you answered for us ahead of time. Kind of nice to have the slow start with only these two games at the beginning. If he's a little slow getting up to speed.
Schedule worked out that way. Didn't plan it initially, but want to get a couple road games to challenge ourselves before heading out, obviously, to the Great Lakes Invitational too, and leading into another conference one up at Ripon before Thanksgiving, before conference slate starts up in December. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned as well the 61 first half points out of the gate has to be very exciting. We saw this weekend most teams are starting awfully slow. You guys, not so much. Any particular reason you think for that, or just good night?
We shared the ball great. We really did. We want to play with pace. We want to get the ball up and down the floor. And guys, just super unselfish group. I think they understand it at this point. A lot of seniors, a couple fifth-year senior guards in the backcourt too. And we turned down good shots and got great shots. And when you shoot the ball like we did in the first half from the perimeter, it helps. But overall, just AJ Johnson, fifth-year guard, all-region player last year. I think he finished with made 5 of 7 from three. Riley Brooks got us going a little bit, forced them to go zone earlier on than we thought probably, and made a couple shots from there. So definitely shot the ball well, but more importantly, shared the ball really nicely.
Maybe talk a little bit about how important it is to have a point guard who knows what they're doing out there and has a lot of experience. We see that again this weekend. A lot of the games I was watching really came down to making sure there was somebody with the ball who knew how to get it to the right spots.
I think we're going to be fortunate this year, knock on wood, that we are healthy. We do have two fifth-year point guards in the backcourt that both have had medical hardships the last couple of years. So bringing AJ Johnson back for his fifth year, who had a shoulder issue 2 years ago. Antoine Nesbitt, first-team All-CCW player from 2 years ago, got hurt last year in the preseason. So having both of those guys finally playing together for the first time in about 2 years, it's been fun to watch. I think as talented of a backcourt as you're going to see in Division III. All of them can score at all three levels. Excellent defenders on the ball and off the ball. So having two guys that have played a lot of games in the conference, a lot of games across their careers, has been really good for us to get more comfortable and get the ball to places it's supposed to be.
And Ryan Johnson may have been a little surprised to people being so far up on our preseason All-American list. I feel like his development last season, he's just a junior this year, so was a pretty steep curve from the beginning to the end of the year, right? He's deserving of all these accolades, but maybe was able to progress a lot more than you might have expected a sophomore to do.
He took the biggest step. We tell our guys a lot of the times that biggest jump we see is from freshman to sophomore year. And he not only took it, he took it to another level, I think, that all of us expected. And being the conference player of the year as a sophomore. And again, a lot of it comes down to what your team successes are. But he did it all for us. A lot of the offense runs through him. He's our anchor on the defensive end of the floor. He's the best rebounder we have in the conference. I think he was over 9 a game last year. And, having him out there, it's just, he gives you that stability on both ends. So being able to reverse the ball to a post, being able to throw it to him on the block, he can score it in a variety of ways. We'll be excited to get him back on the floor next week.
Yeah, I was noticing even with kind of the blowout win, even the end of the bench is still mostly juniors. So you're going down. I think I saw with even as many guys as you played, there was only 2 underclassmen that were even in there. What is it? I mean, I assume some of this has been injuries and other things working to have so many juniors and seniors on this team.
It's worked. I mean, we'll say my first, I think, real recruiting class after the COVID year would have been this fifth-year group right now. So they've stuck together. So last year we said a lot. I think when AJ Johnson and Antoine were freshmen, we struggled. We played a lot of freshmen 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So now we finally have grown up. We're finally the older team now. And, I think we solidified our roster with obviously the returning pieces and supplemented that with a couple transfers that have come from a couple Division II schools that are both juniors as well. So getting them into the lineup too, we've kind of become a more mature team, I feel like.
So then, coaching question. You've
Yes.
got so many juniors, you got guys that are earning their spots and their minutes, but you also don't want to neglect the pretty good sized freshman class you have coming in. You want to make sure you're getting minutes for the guys who are going to have to play in the future. How do you approach that as a coach to make sure you're thinking about this year and next year?
That's a great question because we've actually changed our philosophy on that this past year. So our young guys are getting more double and triple days than we've ever done before. So just this morning, guys came in, the younger group at 7 a.m. getting their skill work done before. Then they have their team practice and they got the weight room later on in the afternoon. So that is a huge, huge piece to ours. We love our freshman class too. And, the best thing for them right now is getting to play against some 22, 23-year-old men every single day in practice and playing these reserve games. We have 13 of them scheduled too. So sort of combining both, right? Getting some individual attention on the floor, but also getting them in that practice mode with some of the older guys, including the weight room with our strength staff, which has done a great job with our group for the last 6 to 8 months. So it's been fun to see their progress in the first 2 months of the school year, too.
And I'm curious, again, looking down the roster, not a ton of sophomores. Was this an intentional thing because you knew you had so many in this upper class, or did that just kind of work out that way?
I think it ends up happening just bizarrely where some of these injuries that have happened, some of these people that are technically juniors on the roster, we do list as academic year, where technically they still have 3 years left to play. So it's a little more balanced than it may seem on there. But, we know with having an older class, we need this to be a big time recruiting class for us to continue this momentum that we built in the program for the past few years too. So I think our guys are all involved with it. They're doing a heck of a job working with recruits too when they get to campus. So I think they're starting to see the growth of the program and just the maturity of these guys too.
And Carthage has pretty good grad programs. I know we've seen that with Wesley in the last couple of years that they've been able to keep guys around because they don't have those options. How does that work where you are?
Has helped for us. So a couple of our guys that will be going through it are education majors. So getting their student teaching done this year does help. But no, the grad program has been special. So that's been started about 4 or 5 years ago. Sports management one, a couple different options that we haven't had before. So that's really been beneficial for our team.
Awesome. And then you mentioned GLI. I'll see you in person out there. I'm headed out there a couple weeks. You got some big games. What does it mean to be invited to this and to be a part of this tournament that's become really a big deal in the November of every year?
You know what? When Ryan reached out to, we were looking for this a couple years ago too. Kind of didn't work out with scheduling, so we were thrilled. We really were, and it's the elite tournament in Division III athletics, and it's been fun to follow from afar for the past how many years has it been now? Oh, going on.
This is the ninth one, I think.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so to be a part of it, that's special. And, to play against two premier teams, top 20 teams, 25 teams in the country, we're excited. We're excited for the opportunity to challenge ourselves early on in the year. We like to challenge ourselves in the non-conference to help build up to obviously the challenges of the CCW schedule. So we like playing teams from different parts of the country too, different regions, different style of play. So yeah, we're thrilled for the opportunity to get out there in a couple weeks.
When you've got Maryville and Mary Washington there, which are probably teams that would be a little tougher for you to schedule otherwise, and certainly playing a different style than what we would typically call Midwest basketball.
Absolutely. And, we've done, obviously, we're focused one game at a time. We're in all prep mode right now for Alma this weekend coming up. But, you've done your initial scout, you've done your homework from the offseason preparing, and we know how talented these two teams are. They both had great first weekends, Maryville, Mary Washington. They're both so well coached and organized teams. So we know it's going to be a challenge, but we prepared very well so far in practice. So I know we'll be ready when it gets to that point.
Yeah, and I was thinking again, we've had the last couple of years kind of celebrating the Illinois Wesleyan, how many juniors and seniors they had. You're kind of in that boat now, looking at how do you get the balance with all of these minutes that you have guys who probably could be starting in other situations, but are having to come off the bench. How does the chemistry work? How do you balance all of that together?
This has been the most selfless group that I've had the opportunity to coach. And I think taking that step forward as a program last year, winning conference for the first time since 2017, getting to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2010. I think we saw that as a step forward, but I think we were a little complacent at the end. We were a little excited to be there. Now we understand, right? We've been there now. Now we want to take that next step as a program. So this is an unselfish group. They play together. They understand that their roles have changed a little bit from previous years. New guys coming in, some different guys in the rotation right now, but everybody's doing it for the greater good of the program. And they understand what we need to do. And, we have high expectations. We have high goals for this group. And, we do take it one day at a time, getting ready for each individual opponent. But this group so far has been special. It's by far the best practicing group that I've had. It's the most competitive group that we've had too. And, I've had zero issues with this group for the first couple months of the year too. So it's really been a fun thing to be a part of.
The league's looking super strong again this year. Obviously, Weston's bringing back a lot of folks. North Park looks like they've uh, gotten things together a little bit after a disappointment last year. Elmhurst is always good. Wheaton's playing well. What are your thoughts just about how tough the conference is going to be?
I think top to bottom, this is one of the more competitive years we've had probably in a couple now, too. I think you have, like you sort of said, some more experienced groups coming back. Illinois Wesleyan, who's obviously going to be very good again this year, added a couple newcomers, new faces to their team, and they're off to had a good preseason to this point, it sounds like. We know Wheaton's going to be taking a jump forward. We know North Park. I mean, you go top to bottom, it is a very, very talented conference. And each game is different, right? People have those style changes even in our conference too, but you got to be ready to go every Wednesday, Saturday in the CCIW. We know that more than anybody else. I think last year we won a good amount of close games, won them at the free throw line, 2 point, 4 point games too. So there's going to be nothing different this year. Every game is going to be a challenge in itself. And, it's a fun way to start. I think December 3rd, first conference game of the year, you get to host Illinois Wesleyan too, who beat you in the conference championship last year.
That'll be fun. We've also a newcomer coming in, not this year, obviously, but it's going to be nice to have maybe a local rival in Concordia coming in the future.
I think all of us were a little caught off guard, surprised when that was announced too. But no, we're excited. I mean, they're going to have an excellent year too. We got the opportunity to scrimmage them the past couple of years, so pretty familiar with their staff. Great guys up there too, and excited to have another Wisconsin team, another W in the CCIW to join us and make our travel a little bit lighter too. I'm happy with that.
Maybe before I jump in a little bit more of the conference talk to give you a little chance to brag on the school. I think people think Wisconsin, there's a certain thing in mind that they don't think about the beachfront property that we got going on here at Carthage. Talk about the school a little bit. What are the strengths of that? And what do people need to know about Carthage if they don't already?
It's a special place. We are a growing community right now. We had our biggest class in school history coming in this past year, over 1,000 kids. So we're a growing campus. We're about to be at 3,000 kids probably in the next year or so, which makes us that good size, small liberal arts college. And location, you couldn't ask for anything better. We're right on Lake Michigan shoreline, about 30 minutes to downtown Milwaukee, an hour to downtown Chicago. So we are situated perfectly. I wish you would have asked me 2 days ago because we did get about 10 inches of lake effect snow last night, but it is a beautiful, beautiful campus and it's a growing community. The Kenosha community and environment as well too is a kind of exploding area out from the Pleasant Prairie to the Kenosha County part of it. And no, it's a special place for me and my family. I've been on this campus since third grade, so it's been cool to see the growth and the changes of this college over the last 30 years.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want, right? Because you want them outside in the off season and in the gym during the winter when nobody wants to be outside, right? So
It works
perfect.
out perfect for us.
Yeah. Talking about the league, you mentioned you have been a part of the CCIW essentially your entire life. People don't know your dad coached at North Park with one title there, right? And then
Two,
and then
two there, three with Coach McCarroll back in the late 70s. Dad was 85, 87. Yes.
okay. Trying to get all the math together. Coach McCarroll just went into the Small College Hall of Fame. Your dad took over there, and then at Carthage, where you got to play for him. People don't know Steve was one of the best Division III basketball players that we have ever seen. Many-time All-American, and now taking over the role to be able to coach there. What role? I mean, it seems a little silly at some point to say that a league is playing a part in your life, but I mean, it has from the time that you. What's your relationship been like to the CCIW?
I think it goes further than just me too. I mean, I'm here today because of, I'll give the man who just got inducted to the Small College Hall of Fame because of Coach McCarroll. He took my dad on as an assistant coach in the mid 70s too. And Coach McCarroll is one of the people I look up to most in, the professional side of this. And he's done so much, being a part of family with my dad too and have grown up with them, and it was cool to see him get rewarded with something that he absolutely deserved for building up that North Park team and allowing my dad to coach with him. And then going past that point, dad coaching at North Park, growing up on that campus, leaving that part, coming up to Carthage, growing up on this campus. It's so unique. It's the challenges. It's what my dad's always told me growing up, just how competitive this league is top to bottom. And, my dad sort of treats it like the Miami Dolphins undefeated football team for all those years, that there hasn't been an undefeated team in this conference. And I can't tell you how many years it's been now, because year in, year out, you're going to get that tough schedule on a Wednesday, Saturday. You're going to have that one road trip where you're in a lull, and it's a lot. I mean, it's so much, but that's why we choose this conference. We want to be in the most competitive environment we can be to help you for postseason and leading into that point too.
And I know when you were coming out of high school, there was lots of sort of conversations amongst people like me were like, you're very good. You probably could have played a whole lot of other places, maybe at a higher level. Is he going to pick this? And I assume part of that, not just playing for your dad, but part of it is that legacy you grew up with. Like these are the teams that you want to play for, play against.
My favorite team that I grew up watching was the Carthage teams when I was in elementary school, middle school of the early 2000s. That was, Jason Wertel, Antoine McDaniel, Rob Garnes, Jimmy Aboykovich, Theo Powell. And that was a team that was Elite Eight, Final Four, Sweet 16, back to back to back years. And that's who I grew up following. That was my favorite team. I don't think I went to an NBA game ever. And I spent more of my times in Tarbell and the PEC before that watching all these Carthage teams. And, it's love how everything does connect after that. Now I go out recruiting and I'll see some of our alums from those eras that, I was the kid bothering them all the time, probably as an elementary school, middle school kid. Now they come back and they see us play. They come back to the alumni. They come back to the golf outings. So just being able to have that relationship and that legacy part of it, it does mean a lot. And I don't take it for granted. It's I say it to a lot of people who ask, like, this is my dream job. This is where I want to be. I want to, keep building this, keep having the momentum that we've done for the past few years. You look at our assistant coaching staff, majority of us are Carthage alums too. So this is a special place for myself, for Coach Tyler, Coach Josh, Coach Noah, these guys that have been with us and have been through the, 4 years ago, playing all freshmen, getting your butt kicked to now building it forward each year from that point.
And one of the reasons I want to talk to you, working on a piece, hopefully this will come out about the same time the piece does. I hadn't realized how long it had been since the CCIW has won a national championship. We think about the conference as one of the power conferences. Of course, it is. 10 teams since 1997 have been in the Final Four, and obviously not won it. But obviously, what does it mean to like? I mean, you're working this year not just for Carthage, but for this league that hasn't won in a long time.
I think all of us are in the same boat. I really do. I think it's such a competitive league. There's so many different teams that have been able to make runs. I believe the last two teams that have gone on to the Final Four in our conference did not finish in the top two. I think they finished third in conference, which just speaks to the depth of it and playing your best basketball at the end of the year too. So for 10 teams since 1990, was it 7 or 8? I believe it was. For Wesleyan, for 10 teams to get there. And I believe it's 5 or 6 different schools have been to the Final Four. I do think that speaks to the depth of this conference too. And, you're in a region where there's such good basketball. You get to play against the WEAC all the time. Obviously, the Northeast, they've had their run of great successes during that too. So, getting to that point, you got to play your best basketball. And I know all of us sort of had that chip on our shoulder right now where we want to be the one to sort of get there. But, for us, obviously, that's a long-term far goal. We want to just take this sort of in the moment right now, live with it, and get ready for Ulm on Saturday.
So, how strong are these rivalries? When you guys get knocked out, are you rooting for the fellow CCIW teams after that, or is it hard to do?
We That's a trick question I believe you're going to ask right there too. But we do have that CCW at heart. We really do. We want our conference to have that look from across the country, and I think we get that. And I think you see all these different teams that have gone on. When you get there, you've built relationships with coaches too. You want them to be successful. These are people that I've grown up with in this league, and some of them have been here obviously much longer than I have. That you've got such a respect for and what they do and the work that they put into their program. So yes, there is that sort of CCW bias for us that we are rooting for all of our conference rivals to make sure they have the best success too.
And maybe don't want you to betray anything, but the last question just about this season. You get out recruiting against all these guys. You kind of know the players they have coming in. I mentioned a few teams that we kind of expect to be pretty good this year. Is there somebody maybe farther down the list in your conference who's maybe going to be sneaky good that you're looking out for this year?
I The only one we haven't seen, I know there's been a lot of games to this point. Obviously, Wheaton got off to a really good start with a win out at Concordia, Wisconsin, right there. They have a really good class coming in with some talented returning freshmen, and obviously an All-American preseason player in the leading scorer in our conference, Richardson, from last year, too. I think North Central returns a lot. They have some good wing players and a lot of freshmen that played last year that are going to be a year older. I think Milliken, it looked very impressive in their game on Saturday. Got an opportunity to watch that on the bus ride home from Winona. And Lane Tolman's one of the most talented players in this league. Carroll went out to Wash U and played fantastic on Friday night. I believe that was a tie game with 5-6 minutes to go for a team to go out there and, hang with them the entire time. Not as familiar with Augustana, haven't played a game yet. We know how talented North Park is, bringing their guys back, bring Julian back, who was in our gym for a couple years, so with Van Landingham back. So there's a lot of talent top to bottom. Didn't even mention Elmhurst to this point. They return a lot, probably have one of the best freshmen in the league too coming in. So yeah, we know how competitive the league is going to be again this year, so we're ready for that challenge when it gets there.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your time, and I'll see you in a couple weeks out in Pennsylvania.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for doing this.